anybody know how big a baby elephant is when it's born? Anybody know how large a baby elephant is? Well, if you didn't know, a baby elephant's about 500 pounds when it's born. Of course, if you're like me, I'm a Discovery Channel aficionado, where I sit on Saturdays and watch shows like The Dog Whisperer and shows like Discovery Channel, things like that. And I found that a baby elephant weighs 500 pounds. Now, when a baby elephant is born in a place like a circus, what they do is they take the elephant, and in order to control the elephant, they put about a 3/4 inch rope on his foot, and they tie him to a stake about 15 feet away. And so what they do is they chain this baby elephant with his leg to the stake, and when he's a baby, he's conditioned to realize he has to stay in this circle. I mean, there he is with his trunk. He's picking up the hay, and he's whatever elephant sounds you could make. It's not a very good elephant sound, I know, but he picks it up with the hay with his trunk, and he's like, I gotta stay within 25 feet of that. He just goes around in a circle. That's what they do at the circus. They control him like that. Now, how many of you know how big a baby elephant gets when he grows up, say a couple years later, say when he's 5 years old? Anybody know how big that baby elephant grows up to be? Go ahead, take a guess. What do you think? 5,000 pounds over here, anything? 8,000? Yeah. Actually, 10,000 pounds or more. So now here's the baby elephant. It's about the size of 3 cars. Do you think the baby elephant can be controlled with the rope anymore? But yet, here's the sad part. At the circus, how do you think they do control a gigantic elephant that weighs 10,000 pounds? That it could rage throughout the city and throughout the streets of Chicago or Minneapolis or Atlanta, wherever it happens to be. It could just roam through the streets wildly. Nobody could control the thing if it really had its mind to not be caught, right? But how do they control the elephant like that? What do you think they do? Well, it's really a sad story, really. What they do is they put blinders on the elephant. Now, you would think they'd use that same rope again. That sounds sad enough, doesn't it? What they do is they put the stake in the ground, and they put the rope around the stake. They take the blinders off and show the elephant the stake, and he automatically thinks he has to stay within 15 feet of that stake. It's just a mental rope that's on his brain. There's really no rope at all. And so the elephant could go throughout the streets of anywhere in the United States. You could be seeing elephants raging throughout the streets of anywhere. Yet they're all controlled by their mind, which I'm telling you, in the contracting industry, we are much like those elephants. We start out with a fresh mind, not knowing what it's going to be like to get in this industry. Some of us starting out only a couple of years in the industry. Some of us been in for a long time. Of course, when you're a young elephant, you're being conditioned by other people who have trained you, who are in the same industry you're in, and the same situations they've been in. They're conditioning you with that's the rope that they're putting on you. Of course, when you're older, you think that rope is real. You think that's what has to happen. Of course, I told you before with some of the stories I have mentioned about how I thought the rope in my leg was that my services were only worth a certain amount. I mean, who doesn't know that if I tell you what is a gas valve, what should it go for? Give me a figure. What do you think? How much should a gas valve cost to install? Maybe $350, $400. $350, $400, right? So what if I told you I get about $2,500 on every one of those kind of calls? It's the rope. You'd say I'm crazy. I'm ripping people off. Yeah, if I sold them a gas valve, you're right. I would be ripping people off. But I don't sell them a gas valve on that kind of call. I look at other things too. I look at the age of the system, the neglect, the service, the customer's awareness. I look at it and say, well, I could offer them the $350, $400 too. I do offer them that one at the bottom. I also offer them things a lot better at the top. What I've learned to do is get out of my prison. The prison I used to be in was just like that elephant with a rope on my foot, conditioned to think that everything costs a certain amount of money in this business. When I was a plumber, I used to go on drain cleaning calls. I would hope I could get $250 a call. When I went on electrical calls, everybody thought electrical box, it's like $1,500 back in the 90s and 80s, $1,500, $1,800 to put an electrical system in for people. That was the going rate. It's like everybody had that. Today it's probably more like $3,000 or $3,500 for that same kind of electrical box, right? The gas valve used to be $190. Now it's probably $350. Unfortunately, the industry doesn't look at things as creatively as I do. And so we're going to talk about how to take the rope off your foot and how just to examine ourselves and how we see things and how one technician could have a drain call where he hopes to get $250 and that another technician, every call he goes on, on drain cleaning calls will average $2,300 on a call like that. One technician has a bad refrigerant leak. He might pick up $250, $300 on that kind of call every single time. A different technician might pick up $1,500 on that kind of call every time. You have a salesperson, HVAC guy, who might sell a furnace for $2,500. Another guy who every single time he goes out there sells that same furnace plus other services and things like that around it for $10,000 every single time. It's stunning, the amount of differences that are out there. And when you do a study with your customer, I'm not going to tell you to believe me, because I don't want you to even believe me. I want you to try it for yourself. This is something that you don't have to have faith in me, but I do want you to have faith in your customer. I do want you to have the next call you go on, if you go out there tomorrow, if you go out there next Monday when you get out of this class, and you have a refrigerant leak, and you offer somebody, I'm going to go ahead and fix a leak, but I'm also going to search the rest of the system for leaks too. And if I happen to see the evidence, like a brand new condensing unit outside with an old evaporator coil inside and an old line set that has never been replaced, I'm going to offer you that too. I'm going to offer you 5 years of service on top of it and give you a 5-year leak-free warranty on top of it. If you're an electrician, I'm going to do an electrical box like you want me to do. But I'm also going to offer you a light bulb change for the next 10 years. You can't change light bulbs. I'll come here every single year, twice a year, before the bulbs burn out and change them for you. See what happens. You know what? Here's what I found happens. Statistically speaking, 80% of everybody purchases right in the middle. 15% will go to the top and 5% will go to the bottom. The thing that you used to sell, you're only going to sell it about 5% of the time. That's what's going to happen, statistically speaking. If you've never tried it before, then you wouldn't know if I was right or wrong, right? So don't trust me. Just offer 6 things to your customer next time and see what happens. Here's the truth. There are several truths about the way we think about our job. Here's truth number 1, that we have an inner belief prison. And this prison is created by our own past history. That it's the walls that we place around us based on other people in the industry and the places we worked at. If we consider the kind of experiences we've had, they're really not that vast. Even a guy who's been doing this 20 years, you got to look at, you've been probably dealing with the same kind of company where you feel comfortable in. There's probably companies you know that you never applied at before, never worked at before, because you just didn't feel comfortable with that type of a company. You always seem to find the same niche, the same groove. Because you know why? That's the rope on our foot. If something different would feel uncomfortable. Uncomfortable is not a good feeling. Therefore, we don't want to get out of our comfort zone. The truth, here's what I found. Success is not comfortable. I'm here to tell you right now today, you will not be comfortable doing what I'm telling you to do. There will be no comfort for you, but there will be excitement. Comfort is not your friend. Routine is your enemy. When you're on these calls and everything's the same, you're going to do the same presentation to every single customer, well then how on code would you be with every customer you're doing? Aren't people different, or is everybody the same? People are different. There's some people who are more green buyers. Some people who give a rat's ass about things being green, right? They just don't care. You get people who are worried about how much the utility bill costs. Other people don't care about it, right? So here you are trying to make a case for saving money on utilities to somebody who couldn't care about it. They don't give a hoot. And here you are talking over and over again to your green in the face about saving money on utilities or about how green this thing is. You're selling to some guy who doesn't even believe in global warming. He thinks you're a moron. Why does this guy keep talking about global warming for? It's not even true, is what he's thinking right now. He's not going to tell you. He doesn't want to embarrass him. He doesn't want to embarrass you, so he lets you finish your spiel. And then he guides you out of the house nice and easily. It says, what an idiot. This guy actually believes in global warming. This guy thinks that I'm going to buy a green solution, right? Conversely, you might have a green buyer. You keep trying to sell them on a return on investment. And they're like, what's this guy keep talking about? My utility bill's only $85. What am I going to save? It's only, I don't like air conditioning even. He's trying to sell me on that. Why don't you just get him out of here? What's going to happen there? Truth number one is we have an inner belief prison. That we believe people do things for our reasons and not theirs. Number 2 is that this prison we've constructed is not based on reality. It's only based on the way we see things, the paradigm, the lens that we see life through. And we refuse to look at it a different way. We think it's solid and concrete, but it really has no basis in reality. Truth number 3 is that we rarely challenge these beliefs. And why don't we challenge these beliefs? Why don't we challenge the way we look at things? Like if I told you that a gas valve that you would normally say $350, $400, and if I said that on that kind of a call, you probably could get $1,500 every single time. I guarantee on that kind of call, there's $1,500 on the table. I'll guarantee that. Now I might sell $2,500 because I'm really good at coming up with creative solutions for people. I'm good at listening. I'm good at finding solutions that are upgrades even beyond the thing that's wrong, and getting people inspired and curious and desirous about buying air quality or life safety protection systems or flood protection systems beyond the gas valve. I might be able to do that. That's why I could get $2,500 on that kind of call. But even the guy who can't think of those things, there's always like $1,500 on the table for that type of a call. But why doesn't he see it? Why does he refuse to see it? Well, who here thinks it's a badge of honor to find something cheaper for somebody? It's like, oh, I'm smart because I found it cheaper. But how smart are you really? Are you as smart as I was with the $1,800 furnace? That was pretty smart. $1,800 is pretty close. I was only $8,000 off of what it should have been. You see how off my thinking was at that time? Learn from me. Don't be as stupid as I was. I'll tell you right now, you can just be as stupid as I was and keep repeating the same mistake over and over again and thinking that the way you see things is actually true. But I'm telling you right now is that your belief prison you've created is not based in reality, and I rarely challenged it. Here's why I didn't challenge it. Because I prided myself and my ego on being the best. I'm the best technician. Nobody could outdo me. Matter of fact, that led me to do a lot of things that were not very good. Like I'm the kind of guy back in the old days that when somebody had a blower wheel that was out of balance, instead of just putting a new blower wheel in, I'd take a 2x4 and put it under it so it stopped vibrating. Or instead of back in the old, I think back when I first started out in HVAC, the guy I rode with named Ray, he told me, you don't replace the gas valve, we can fix it. Yeah, we just take the solenoid out of the valve and we put a new solenoid in. Yeah, we leave the same valve in place. It's even cheaper. Remember those days? You might even work back in the days they used to actually rebuild the gas valve. They wouldn't even replace it. And the bracket, no, we're not going to buy a new bracket. We're just going to weld one. We'll take it back to the shop, we'll clean it up, we'll weld it, and we'll bring it back. We'll make the part. We're going to be a manufacturer of the part ourselves now. That's how it was back in the day. I'm telling you, that's how, back in the 1970s when I grew up, that's what, of course, I grew up in an area, I call it dairy country in Illinois here. You know, farmers, they make everything. They refuse to buy something for somebody. Like they get the farm supply. If it's not the farm supply, forget it. That's all if they couldn't pay it with cash, I'm not going to order from something from out of state. No way would I ever order that type of thing. And so the point is this: we rarely challenge those. Our ego does not allow us to challenge those things. Truth number 4 is that we hang on to these beliefs strongly, that we don't want to release them because it took so long. And what it would say is, if I believed in this for this many years and I was wrong, that this part of my life would be wasted. I'm telling you right now, it's not wasted. Everything you learn in life is just a step. It's a learning step. Don't look at like because I wasn't as smart 10 years ago as I am now, that I wasn't valid back 10 years ago, right? We all make mistakes with our marriages, with our children, with our homes, with the way we live, our parents. We all make these same mistakes, right? What we are really not smart is when we don't learn from those mistakes. When you learn from mistakes, it's an honor to learn from the mistake, right? And to say, I am smarter than I was back then. Number 5, the truth number 5 is that we won't change until we're able to release everything we knew before and try and look at things a little differently. That's really the key. So let me ask you a question. What is the rope on your foot? What is the inner belief prison that you've constructed around yourself? What kind of prices, what kind of situations do you find yourself in? Like, for instance, if you're an electrician, are you saying to yourself, well, it's only a broken switch. Who's going to pay more than, I probably couldn't get more than $150 for that kind of a call. Guess what I tell them? The parts are free. There is no cost to the parts. When you buy my service, the parts come for free. There is nothing. There's no, I'm not going to sell you that switch. What I do sell you is my service to go over the whole electrical system, to look at the load balance on this thing, to check every single outlet in the whole house, and make sure they're all safe. If I'm an air conditioning guy, I'm checking the superheat, the compression ratio. I'm checking the duct sizing. I'm checking the humidity removal capacity of the system. That's all. That's what I'm doing. This refrigerant, what was the cost per pound? Free. It comes with my service. You buy this service, the parts come free. Your results won't change unless you release your old beliefs. And so whatever old beliefs you have, whatever old school beliefs you have, you've got to be able to willing to say, my ego is not my amigo, and I'm willing to release it. Let's all say it together. Ready? My ego's not my amigo. One more time. My ego is not my amigo.